today to argue the resolution that this House should allow public orgies. This House shall be defined as the American people who wish to have orgies. Should allow will be defined as should be able with no consequence. Public shall be defined as in an area that is concealed but not a private property. Concealed meaning to not be seen, and private property to mean not open to the public. Orgies shall be defined as group sex involving 2 or more couples. Sex will be defined in this definition as any form of participation in a sexual act, whether it be oral, intercourse, or any form of stimulation by one couple to another. Couples are defined as a pair of people. Now, the criteria for this debate is a policy debate, obviously. Now, the winner shall be defined as whoever can argue whether or not orgies should be allowed in public the best. Now, I will give 3 main points: economic, social, and political. Basically, my economic point is that more money will be spent on contraceptives, which will put money into the system. Socially, people would be happier. Happier people means a happier society. And politically, laws against public orgies will be reformed, which has a numerous amount of consequences, of which I shall cover. Now, my first point, this would be point A, my economic, is more money shall be spent on contraceptives. Men who want to have safe sex and do not want to be stuck with a child who they are forced to raise by the courts and by their female partners will want to spend money on contraceptives. That is to say, spermicidal lube, or condoms, or latex wraps, or a numerous variety of other things of which I honestly have no knowledge of because condoms work best. Guys would not be the only people purchasing these contraceptives. Women as well would purchase these, such as Plan B pills, which is what it kills stuff in the uterus.
Like babies?
For shame. No, I don't mean that to be, you know...
Shameful.
Shameful, exactly. I am simply stating that that is what it does. And birth control makes it so that an egg isn't formed in the first place. Now, this overall safety of the population would increase the overall safety of the people. Because people are spending more on contraceptives, less STDs would be produced or would be spread. Less children who would otherwise be raised by a father who wasn't there or a mother who doesn't care, I like that little rhyme, would not come to existence in the first place. Now, another point under the economic point is that there will be less time spent in courts for sex in public. For example, teenagers who wish to go to the park in massive groups and have orgies up in the swing sets would not be hassled by the law, meaning police officers who could be spending their time elsewhere doing a job like chasing bad guys, arresting people for marijuana possession, and other things that involve something that does not relate to massive group orgies in the park amongst teenagers. Now, my second point is my social point. People would be happier. I don't know about anyone else, but after I have hot, sweaty group sex, I'm a happier man. I come out of that feeling just great. Being able to have group sex is one of those just great things that I can't even explain, yet I shall try. Group sex is something that is magical. Feeling the feelings of the people around you while they're feeling those same feelings that you're feeling, that is to say a massive orgasm at the same time, is incredible. This would make our overall society happier. Now, because sex makes the vast majority of people happier, and sex in large groups would increase happiness output, it would just be impractical to not let anyone experience this happiness. And yes, I shall take your question.
Are you arguing that orgies, group sex, cause group orgasms?
I'm saying that in the 3 orgies that I was in, I did have a group orgasm. At the same time as the 2 couples next to me. Actually, my opponent was there. Now I shall argue my third and final point, the political aspect of why we should allow public orgies in our great nation of America. A nation that was founded on the belief that we should all have a right and pursuit of
Like
happiness.
5:15.
A pursuit of happiness. I've previously stated that orgies increase the amount of happiness within a society, such as the Greeks and the Romans did when they wanted to have massive orgies. So, because our country was founded on the ideals that we should all be allowed to be happy, it's simply non-conceivable that we shouldn't allow something like public orgies. Now, laws against public orgies would be reformed if we put this into place, and no longer would any discrimination against the people who wish to have public orgies in a park, or let's say next to a school, or anywhere that is, as I said, public, but in a concealed area. Now, you will vote for me because it is simply inconceivable that orgies are a bad thing. Let's face it, the vast majority of most people love group sex. Group sex is the bee's knees, okay? You can't argue against something that makes you happy. And this isn't something like a drug. This is something natural, something God gave us to do, something that we were born with, a natural right. A natural right is something in America we should all be allowed to have. And because we should all be allowed to have this, I believe that this House should allow public orgies. And thank you. Have a nice day.
What? What?